The walls are closing in on Shannon Sharpe, and the internet is watching every second of his downfall like it's primetime TV. Just days after a bombshell lawsuit accused the NFL legend of manipulation, violence, and chilling SA allegations, none other than Katt Williams stepped into the ring with a brutal, "I told you so," throwing gasoline on a fire that was already out of control. From leaked text messages to disturbing audio tapes and blackmail accusations flying in every direction, this scandal isn't just ugly, it might be career-ending. And if you thought the tea couldn't get any hotter, just wait until you hear what Shannon allegedly offered to make this all go away. Grab a seat because this story is spiraling fast and no one's reputation is coming out clean. Let's get into it. When it comes to Hollywood scandals, nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared us for the storm that's unfolding right now. What started as whispers behind closed doors has erupted into a full-blown public spectacle, dragging names, reputations, and deep, dirty secrets straight into the spotlight. And at the center of it all, a lawsuit so explosive, it's threatening to tear apart careers, fortunes, and entire legacies. But that's just the beginning. Because when Katt Williams, yes, the one and only, the man who's never been afraid to call out the hypocrisy and the corruption of the entertainment world, steps into the ring, you already know it's about to get messy. Sources close to the situation say Katt isn't just speaking out. He's coming with receipts, with accusations that could rattle some of the most powerful names in the business to their core. This isn't just about one lawsuit. It's not just about one celebrity. This is about an entire network of scandal that's been quietly festering behind the scenes. And now, it's all starting to spiral completely out of control. Lawsuits are stacking up, alliances are crumbling, careers are hanging by a thread, and the deeper you dig, the more sinister it all becomes. How did a single legal complaint spark a domino effect that's now exposing decades of betrayal, manipulation, and corruption? What secret role is Katt Williams really playing in this unraveling drama? And who, if anyone, will still be standing once the dust finally settles? Trust me, you're not ready for the layers of scandal we're about to peel back. Because what's happening right now isn't just another tabloid headline. It's a full-on implosion, and everybody is about to get burned. To really understand how we got here, we need to rewind, because this lawsuit didn't come out of nowhere. For years, Shannon Sharpe has carefully cultivated a public image. The charismatic former NFL superstar, the no-nonsense commentator, the man with the sharp wit and sharper suits who's never afraid to speak his mind. But behind the confident smiles and viral moments, there have always been quiet rumblings, subtle warnings that something much darker might be hiding beneath the surface. Now, those whispers have exploded into full-blown allegations, and the carefully polished armor around Shannon is beginning to crack. Just days ago, a shocking new lawsuit was filed, sending shockwaves through both the sports world and Hollywood alike. The accusations? Nothing short of devastating. The plaintiff, who, for now, remains unnamed, alleges a disturbing pattern of behavior: manipulation, sexual assault, and violent threats spanning over a chilling period of time. According to court documents, Shannon is being painted not as the charismatic figure millions have adored, but as a calculated predator who used his fame, influence, and power to intimidate and control. The lawsuit claims that Shannon not only manipulated his alleged victim emotionally, but also physically isolated them, leveraging his celebrity status to silence and coerce. What's even more chilling are the allegations of violent threats, that he allegedly used fear and intimidation as weapons whenever his control was questioned. And here's where things get even messier. Insiders are already hinting that this case could open the floodgates. That if this lawsuit moves forward, Shannon Sharpe might not be the only public figure facing fallout. Because according to some sources, this lawsuit could expose an entire network of enablers. People who allegedly knew what was happening but chose to look the other way to protect their own interests and careers. The allegations are still fresh, and Shannon's camp has already started scrambling to deny, deflect, and discredit. But with more details leaking by the hour, the damage may already be done. And if even a fraction of these accusations are proven true, Shannon's empire could crumble faster than anyone ever imagined. This isn't just a scandal. It's a powder keg, and it's already lit. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse for Shannon Sharpe, enter Katt Williams, with a microphone in one hand and a match in the other, ready to set the whole situation ablaze. If you've been paying attention, you already know Katt Williams has history with Shannon, and it's ugly. It all started earlier this year, when Katt sat down for what would become one of the most explosive interviews in recent memory, his appearance on Club Shay Shay, Shannon's own podcast. At first, it seemed like a match made in viral heaven. Two larger-than-life personalities, trading jokes and war stories. But beneath the surface, the tension was unmistakable. Katt wasn't just there to be funny. He was strategic. Every joke had teeth. Every compliment came laced with a side eye. And as the interview went on, it became clear that Katt saw something in Shannon that he didn't like, something he wasn't about to let slide. Whether it was Shannon's alleged pandering to mainstream audiences, his safe persona, or just the aura of inauthenticity that Katt has made a career out of torching, the message was clear. Katt Williams wasn't buying what Shannon was selling. Fast forward to today, and Katt has wasted no time reminding everyone exactly where he stands. Within hours of the lawsuit news breaking, Katt took to social media. Not with a direct statement, of course, but with a classic Katt Williams-style jab that left no doubt about who he was talking about. A cryptic post, a sly grin, and the words, "Funny how the truth always comes to the surface when you stop polishing it." No names mentioned, none needed. The internet knew exactly who the target was. And if that wasn't enough, fans quickly resurfaced an old clip from the Club Shay Shay interview. A moment that most people missed the first time around, where Katt looked Shannon dead in the eye and said, "You could dress it up and shine it real nice, but fake is fake." At the time, it was brushed off as another Kattism, a throwaway punchline. But now, that clip is playing like a prophecy. Katt Williams didn't just hint at it. He warned us. And now, with a lawsuit threatening to take down Shannon's entire image, Katt's standing back, arms crossed, saying what everyone else is too scared to say out loud. I told you so. But this might just be the beginning, because sources close to Katt are saying he's not done talking. Not by a long shot. And if Katt Williams decides to fully unload on Shannon Sharpe, whatever image Shannon has left could be shattered beyond repair. Because when Katt Williams enters the chat, nobody walks away clean. Now, let's get into the heart of the storm, the allegations themselves. And it all begins with a young woman named Gabriella Zuniga. Gabriella isn't just some distant accuser. She's now the face of a scandal that's threatening to bring Shannon Sharpe's empire crashing down. At just 19 years old, Gabriella is standing up against a man who is not only a towering figure in sports media, but someone decades her senior. 54 years old to be exact. That's a 35-year age gap. 35 years. An entire lifetime between them. And that detail alone has set the internet on fire, sparking outrage, disgust, and a tidal wave of questions about power, manipulation, and consent. According to the lawsuit Gabriella filed, this wasn't a consensual, innocent entanglement gone wrong. No, what she's alleging is far darker. Gabriella claims that Shannon used his fame, wealth, and influence to manipulate her into situations she didn't want to be in. Situations where she felt trapped, pressured, and ultimately violated. One of the most explosive allegations? Sexual assault. Gabriella alleges that on multiple occasions, she was forced into encounters against her will, all while Shannon allegedly dangled promises of opportunities, financial help, and protection over her head like a twisted bargaining chip. She says that every time she tried to pull away, Shannon would threaten her, using his connections and influence to remind her just how powerless she was against him. But it doesn't stop there. Gabriella also claims that Shannon wasn't just interested in control. He was obsessed with documentation. She alleges that he secretly recorded some of their private moments without her consent. Private, intimate footage that she says could easily be weaponized against her if she ever dared to speak out. A silent but ever-present threat hanging over her every move. Imagine being 19, just barely an adult, thinking you're stepping into a life of opportunity. only to find yourself allegedly trapped in a nightmare of surveillance, coercion, and fear. That's the picture Gabriella is painting. And whether people want to believe her or not, the very existence of this lawsuit has already shattered Shannon's carefully curated public image as the charismatic, straight-talking, sports Uncle America trusted. The lawsuit is now in motion. The details are public, and the age gap alone has people questioning how Shannon could ever explain this away. Because even if all of Gabriella's allegations are eventually challenged in court, the optics of a 54-year-old man tangled up in this kind of mess with a teenager are devastating. And let's be clear, in the court of public opinion, optics are everything. But Shannon Sharpe didn't just sit back and take the blows. Oh no, within hours of the lawsuit making headlines, his team came out swinging. And they came armed with receipts they claim tell a very different story. First, Shannon's legal team released a string of graphic text messages. Messages they say were sent by Gabriella herself. In these texts, Gabriella appears not as a victim, but as an eager participant, sending explicit messages, professing her love for Shannon, and even making suggestive offers to make him feel better whenever he was stressed. The tone of these texts, shamelessly flirtatious, boldly graphic. Nothing like the picture of fear and manipulation Gabriella painted in her lawsuit. Shannon's lawyers seized on these messages as their smoking gun. They framed them as undeniable proof that Gabriella's claims were not just exaggerated. They were flat-out lies. In a blistering statement to the press, Shannon's legal team accused Gabriella of blackmail, saying that after their relationship soured, she allegedly threatened to expose Shannon if he didn't pay up. And they didn't mince words. According to Shannon's side, Gabriella demanded a hefty financial settlement, a quiet payoff to make all this go away. When Shannon refused, they say, she retaliated the only way she could, by weaponizing the court system and the media against him. But it gets even messy, eh? Shannon's team is also claiming that key pieces of evidence Gabriella submitted are doctored. They allege that the videos she's referenced, the so-called unwanted recordings, have been edited and manipulated, cutting out critical context to make interactions look predatory, when, they insist, the full footage would tell a very different story. They're accusing Gabriella's camp of splicing together clips, removing consent, twisting private moments into a narrative built for maximum scandal. In short, they're painting her not just as a liar, but as a calculated, cold opportunist who knew exactly how to twist the knife and create a firestorm that could destroy Shannon Sharpe's career. And if you think Shannon's team is backing down anytime soon, think again. They're reportedly preparing to countersue for defamation, emotional distress, and extortion. This isn't just a legal fight anymore. It's an all-out war, a brutal battle for control of the story, for control of the narrative. On one side, a young woman claiming she was victimized and silenced. On the other, a media titan claiming he's the one being extorted and framed. And in the court of public opinion, every leaked text, every lawyer's statement, every new headline is just adding more fuel to a scandal that's already spiraling completely out of control. But just when Shannon Sharpe's camp thought they were gaining ground, boom, Tony Buzbee, Gabriella's high-powered, headline-loving attorney, came in swinging with his own set of receipts. And let's be clear, Buzbee wasn't just clapping back. He was detonating bombs. First, Buzbee accused Shannon's team of hypocrisy, calling their so-called evidence nothing more than a distraction from the real issue, Shannon's alleged misconduct. And he dropped a bombshell accusation that left the internet gasping. He claimed that Shannon's side had tried to quietly offer Gabriella $10 million to resolve the situation before the lawsuit was ever filed. According to Buzbee, Shannon's camp desperately wanted Gabriella to sign an airtight non-disclosure agreement, to disappear quietly into the background, to take the money and stay silent forever. But Gabriella, he insists, refused to be bought. She chose to go public, and now, according to Buzbee, Shannon's team is scrambling to paint her as a gold digger because their hush-money strategy failed. And that was just the beginning. In a fiery press conference, Buzbee promised receipts, and oh, did he deliver. He alleged that not only were Gabriella's claims credible, but that there was even more damning evidence that the public hadn't seen yet. Evidence, he warned, that would make it impossible for anyone to continue defending Shannon Sharpe. And then it happened. Late at night, without warning, audio clips started leaking online. Disturbing, chilling clips allegedly of Shannon in conversations with Gabriella. The recordings are messy, low quality, clearly captured without consent. But the content? Enough to make your skin crawl. In one clip, a man sounding unmistakably like Shannon can be heard raising his voice aggressively, threatening consequences if certain things ever got out. In another, Gabriella's voice sounds shaky, almost tearful, as she tries to de-escalate a heated confrontation. There are moments of eerie silence, sudden sharp tones, the atmosphere thick with tension and fear. While Shannon's team immediately dismissed the clips as out-of-context fabrications, the damage was already done. Public opinion, already teetering, started to shift dramatically. Online, the hashtags #SurvivingShannon and #ProtectGabriella began trending. Comment sections exploded with outrage, demands for accountability, and debates about who was telling the real story. And through it all, Tony Busby promised there was even more to come. In a blistering statement, he hinted at videos, additional recordings, and sworn testimony that would make the full scope of Shannon Sharpe's behavior undeniably clear to the world. In other words, if Shannon Sharpe thought this scandal was under control, he was dead wrong. The battle for the truth, or at least the battle for public sympathy, had officially escalated into a no-holds-barred war, and both sides were bleeding receipts. And if these early leaks were just the opening shots, then what's coming next could completely obliterate whatever reputation Shannon Sharpe has left. The moment those disturbing audio clips hit the internet, it was as if the floodgates burst open. Within minutes, #ShannonSharpe, #SurvivingShannon, and #ProtectGabriella were all trending worldwide, and the backlash against the former NFL star turned media darling was swift, relentless, and unforgiving. Fans who once celebrated Shannon for his charisma, his candor, and his rise from sports to media royalty were now staring at the recordings in stunned disbelief. Memes turned to outrage. Jokes turned to horror. And the overwhelming sentiment across every platform, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, was clear. This wasn't a good look for Shannon Sharpe. Internet detectives immediately jumped into action, dissecting every syllable of the leaked audio, cross-referencing it with old interviews, social media posts, and anything that could connect the dots. Threads popped up compiling Shannon's history of problematic comments, past behavior brushed off as jokes, and questionable moments that, in hindsight, suddenly didn't seem so harmless. But it wasn't just the aggressive tone of the recordings that set off alarms. What really ignited deeper outrage was the way race was allegedly weaponized in the leaked conversations. In one particularly chilling moment, a man believed to be Shannon can be heard suggesting that Gabriella, a young, racially ambiguous woman, would be believed over him simply because of how she looked. There were loaded insinuations about light-skinned privilege, public sympathy, and the way society treats black men when accusations surface. And just like that, a new, painful conversation erupted. The racial dynamics at play in scandals like this. Across Black Twitter, debates raged. Some users pointed out the harsh reality that black men are often presumed guilty in the court of public opinion. Others countered that Shannon's alleged manipulation of that narrative, essentially weaponizing real racial struggles to dodge personal accountability, was even more despicable. One viral tweet read, "Shannon knew exactly what he was doing. Don't use real black pain to cover up your own demons. We are not your shield." Think pieces flooded in from every direction. Journalists, activists, influencers, analyzing the dangerous intersection of race, power, gender, and celebrity. Commentators argued that while racial bias against black men and accusations is real and undeniable, it doesn't excuse or erase genuine harm when it occurs. If anything, they said, it made Shannon's alleged manipulation even more calculated and sinister. Meanwhile, fans of Shannon's former show, Club Shay Shay, began abandoning ship. Old episodes were flooded with negative comments. His social media pages, once filled with fans hyping up his wisdom and humor, were now war zones of accusations and disappointment. And in the midst of it all, Shannon Sharpe's silence grew louder by the day. No live streams, no emergency podcasts, no heartfelt Instagram posts, just silence, which, in this kind of scandal, is often the most deafening response of all. The tide was turning fast, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't clear if Shannon Sharpe, the master of the microphone, the king of the comeback, had any words left that could save him. Because the court of public opinion, it was already preparing the verdict. And this time, it didn't look like Shannon Sharpe would be walking away unscathed. As of now, the situation surrounding Shannon Sharpe is a full-blown legal and PR nightmare, and it's only getting worse by the hour. On the official front, Gabriela Zuniga's civil lawsuit remains active, grinding its way through the court system with explosive allegations of sexual assault, violent threats, and coercive manipulation. But Shannon? He isn't rolling over quietly. In a desperate attempt to claw back control of the narrative, his legal team has fired back hard with a defamation countersuit, accusing Gabriela of maliciously fabricating claims to extort him for millions. The countersuit is vicious, labeling her a pathological liar, a calculating opportunist, and alleging she edited conversations and recordings to build a false case against him. Both sides are now locked in a brutal, no-holds-barred war that's bleeding into the public eye, and every new filing seems to leak within hours, fueling a scandal that feels increasingly impossible to contain. Meanwhile, far from the courtroom, another figure lurks in the shadows, grinning like a man who's been waiting for this moment. Katt Williams. Katt, who famously flamed Shannon earlier this year after his viral Club Shay Shay interview with Shannon's former co-host, has been hitting social media with a steady drip of cryptic, shady posts. Without naming names, he's posted phrases like, "See, y'all thought I was hating. When the truth comes to light, remember who told you first. And that same energy y'all had for me, better keep it now." Katt Williams is clearly reveling in Shannon's downfall, and fans are eating it up. Even more ominous? Insiders close to Katt claim he's sitting on even more damaging information about Shannon. Information he's allegedly waiting to unleash if Shannon continues trying to spin the narrative. It's the kind of threat that feels terrifyingly real, especially considering Katt's history of airing out dirty laundry with receipts, not rumors. And as for Shannon's career, it's hanging by a thread. Major sponsors are reportedly in emergency review meetings, quietly preparing exit strategies in case the scandal worsens. There's heavy speculation that networks like ESPN and Fox Sports, companies that once courted Shannon like a media darling, are reconsidering future partnerships altogether. The same man who was once hailed for his rise from athlete to unfiltered sports analyst to full-blown cultural commentator is now staring down the possibility of total professional exile. Behind closed doors, sources say Shannon is terrified, weighing whether to settle quietly, fight it out to the bitter end, or attempt a public redemption campaign. Although right now, redemption feels like an impossible mountain to climb. And the worst part? This may not even be the end. With Katt Williams hinting of more to come, and Gabriela's legal team promising additional evidence, the scandal that has already scorched Shannon's reputation could still be only in its early stages. For now, the world watches, waits, and wonders if Shannon Sharpe's once mighty empire is about to collapse completely under the weight of his own secrets. And now, we're left standing at the edge of a scandal that feels less like a personal downfall and more like a full-scale implosion. Because the truth is, this isn't just about one lawsuit. It isn't just about Gabriela Zuniga's devastating accusations, or the disturbing audio clips, or even the alleged hush money offers. This is about the collapse of a carefully curated public image, one that took decades to build and mere days to shatter. Shannon Sharpe, once untouchable, once celebrated as the loud, charismatic underdog who defied the odds, is now fighting for his career, his legacy, and, quite possibly, his freedom. The court of public opinion moves faster than any judge's gavel, And right now, it's swift and merciless. As networks grow silent, as brand deals evaporate, as whispers turn into front-page headlines, the question echoes louder and louder. Can Shannon survive this? Or is this the final chapter of a story that once seemed destined for greatness, but now feels destined for infamy? And more chilling still, what if this is only the beginning? Because behind the lawsuits, behind the damning leaks, behind Katt Williams' cryptic warnings, there are rumblings that even bigger bombshells are looming. Whispers of more victims, of darker allegations, of secrets that could make everything we know so far look tame by comparison. The fall of Shannon Sharpe isn't just a scandal. It's a cautionary tale, still being written in real time. And if what insiders are hinting at is even half true, the worst may be yet to come. Stay tuned.